All right. Well, hey, team. Glad to see you here. Monday night. It is February 20th. We are here for team time. And my name is Dee Corchin, and I'm glad to see so many of you guys signing on. And we've got new coaches joining our organization. Welcome to all our experienced coaches. Welcome. This is where we come, we learn, we grow together. And I'm especially excited about tonight's call. We are really working hard behind the scenes to bring calls of value to you that help you with your coaching skills, that help you build the businesses. And thank you for showing up because I know it means a lot to you. And I wanted to let you know, just kind of a heads up, maybe put a 1 in the chat if this sounds familiar to you or interesting to you. Do you think it would be helpful if you had data that helped you interpret what you can see in the back office? So maybe you're looking to build your business, and that if you could know, like, hey, I'm 2 clients away, and if I got those 2 clients, it would make this difference, or maybe a coach on their team. Okay. So I am working with somebody right now doing some pilot work. Thank you. All right. You guys make me excited. So good. Doing some just exploratory work with him. And that was something he said that he could do. He has shared on their organization. They had 200 coaches and 50 of them wanted the reports. And it's made a significant difference in the growth organization. So I'm doing what I can to help everybody out. So, but speaking of which, it's February 20th, which means we have 8 days a month. So it is a short month, you guys. And I just wanted to kind of give you a heads up that we still have 25% of the month left. Talked to a coach earlier who was like, yeah, I don't see it. Yeah, it's not happening this month. And I was like, there's 8 days, right? So it's a matter of perspective. And we're going to talk a little bit about that with Vicky's thing about what do we see in our mind, right? What is our perception? Because our perception is our reality. But I also want to give you a heads up, if you haven't thought about it, that a lot of your clients have $90 of extra rewards on their account. So maybe work with them to explore some new items. Maybe they could try snacks. Maybe they could try infusers, things that they haven't tried before because they've got this bonus extra income, rewards. Also, you're going to get notices tomorrow because everybody who would typically be on the 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st are all going to come in tomorrow. So you might start to see people moving orders, et cetera. So that's really your time to be in there with your client support and connecting with people. If that, hopefully that makes sense to you. The other things I wanted to let you know are Dr. A, the next coach call with Dr. A and Nick Johnson is this Wednesday, February 22nd, 8 p.m. Those calls will be every 2 weeks now from here on during this pilot period for 3 months, every 2 weeks, Wednesdays at 8. So I had not marked my calendar. I saw it in the coach email earlier. And do you guys remember, she's going to speak in a minute, but do you guys remember how cool it was when we got to see Meg Johnson when she won the Ignite? She was one of the 10 Ignites. Well, you know what? Meg called me one day and she was like, I don't know, is this weird? Like, I think I'm going to apply. And I was like, girl, apply, right? You take a chance. You never know. And that was just an incredible growth opportunity. It was so inspiring to all of us. Well, it's happening again. So you probably got the email about it. It's in the but Coach Ignite, you can submit your application. What this means is you're going to share your story. How has Optavia impacted your life, right? Could be physical change, mental health, financial health. Like, how did it change your life? So look online for that. I'll share more details, but you have until March 6th. They just opened it up today. So guess what I have written down? Apply for Optavia Ignite because I'm going to do it, right? So I would like to see our team, somebody on our team be represented because we have rock stars. And a lot of lives changed. So speaking of rock stars, before our rock star Vicki Feldman comes on to facilitate tonight, Meg Johnson is hosting the national call at 8 p.m. Tonight, the client support call. And it's so relevant to our topic tonight because our topic is how do we better support our clients who can't stay on plan. So Meg, she's getting all ready for 8 p.m., but she said she'd come on for a minute.
Yes. Hey guys, really excited about tonight and hate to miss this call because it's going to be incredible. I know we all have clients that are struggling to stick to the plan, and it's like, one of those things that we all struggle with, like, how can we help them stick to plan? Well, something has shifted in my coaching over the last week, and I have really found that when clients start to track what they eat throughout the day, and I know this, right? Element 13, when we track, we improve our journey, but it has shifted how I've coached, and it has shifted so many journeys in the last week. So I know you all came tonight with a list of clients who are currently struggling to stick to plan. So what we want to challenge you to do tonight on the 8 o'clock call, it is all about tracking your weight to a healthy weight and beyond, right? So you're going to hear from actually coaches, Lauren Grove and Lucy Ward are going to share. They didn't track before. They started tracking and boom, their results have shifted. They are rocking and rolling in really big ways. And so you're going to want to make sure your clients are on. And so we've got some wording that I'm going to pop into the chat right now, and you can just copy and paste it to your clients and just say, hey, all it says is I've been thinking about you. I've got a good idea. Be on this call in 20 minutes. I'll see you there. And then we can chat about it. So highly recommend you take that list and you send it out. I have a feeling this call is going to be powerful and it's going to shift things for a lot of people. So hope to see you there in about 25 minutes. Y'all have a great call. Thanks for letting me speak.
Good luck, Meg. We'll be there to support you. Can't wait. I told her earlier, I said, I want to wish you good luck, but you don't need it. I just can't wait to see her shine. So we knew we'd lose you for a second while you copy and paste and send these texts. So go ahead and do that because we felt it was that important, right? What's our most valuable, thing we do? We support clients, right? We support them. So send those messages. All right. I want you to come back quickly because you don't want to miss this content. So do it fast. Copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. Even private messenger, text, however you typically do it. But all right. So Vicki and I have partnered together, Vicki Feldman, for 10 years. And she has got a lot of content. So I'm going to toss the ball to her. But one of the things I so admire about Vicki is one, she's always willing to admit when she's not doing things perfectly, but she she has an essence about her, and a lot of it comes from her background. And I don't know, you're gonna have to say what it was, but I know you used to do behavioral work. So she really gets it and connecting with people and what works and what makes change. And she has a way of delivering and talking to people that people really listen to her. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Vicki, because you got a lot to go over.
Okay. Thanks, Dee. Can everybody hear me? Is that a yes? Okay. I'm going to share my screen. All right. Can everybody see that? Yes. Is that a thumbs up?
Yeah, we got it.
If you can see it. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So, whenever you're exploring a topic that you want to present to people, you start to find all the things that you haven't been doing or that you could do better. Or, I've had a lot of aha moments in just kind of putting my thoughts together. So put a 1 in the chat if you've had a client derail and be on the 5 and 1-ish or blank. Has anybody had that issue? So my next question is, raise your hand if you have derailed and been on the 5-1-ish at some point in time. Anybody? Everybody? Okay. So I think that, one of the things that I wanted to really bring to the forefront is just the human element of none of us are perfect. This is, changing behavior, changing lifestyle is challenging. I know I come from, I have a master's in social work, so I do come from that background, but probably in the last 20 years, I've been more in fitness, and I'm just so used to telling people what to do. It's very hard for me. I feel like I need to fix. And what I've discovered over time is that sometimes if I know they're not doing well, I almost avoid connecting because I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to help them. So it almost paralyzes me, and I go a little bit into avoidance. Here we go. So I think we all would agree that people come in for a lot of reasons, right? Most of the time they're going to be extrinsically motivated or intrinsically motivated. In my experience, usually the catalyst is more on the extrinsic, right? There's something that's going to happen. It's going to be a wedding. It's going to be a cruise. It's going to be a reunion. We had people maybe coming in because we had the the $90 off, last month as a perk for new people jumping on plan. I do hear like, oh, I just want to be healthier, right? I want to be around for my grandkids. You hear that, but usually the driving factor is something more concrete. And I think what we always hope is that that short-term desire of coming in for something will ultimately be transformed into the bigger of, now I realize that I can really change, and this isn't going to be a short-term situation for that one event, but they're able to see the picture a little bit bigger. And I wanted to invite invite Victoria Bickford. Victoria, can you unmute yourself?
There we go.
Are you there?
Yeah.
So Victoria is a client, but and she's also a coach. She's a newer coach. And I wanted her to just share a little bit about what brought her in the first time and what, brought her in the second time and what's changed.
So, hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here tonight and support Vicki as my coach as well. The first time I came into the program, I was really looking for a quick fix to lose some weight. And I had experienced someone who was on the program, and she didn't really know much about it, except she was doing it. And it didn't come with much support on my sake. I kept asking, like, is there something else I should know about? Like, should I be doing something else? So once the weight came off, I pretty much just fell to the wayside. However, I knew that it was a good program. I knew that everything about it made sense to me. So I was able to just, work with 5-in-1 for a while, and then finally it just all went away. So fast forward, I think maybe 4 years. I lose track with the COVID time, but at least 4 years, maybe 5. I saw weight start to escalate. My daughter had some major health issues, and it was kind of, I think I call it like eat to heal, like that kind of thing. Like we sat around and console each other with a plate of cookies kind of thing. So I saw my weight escalate, and then I felt like I needed to find that program again. I couldn't even remember the name of it, but I finally found it, and I found Vicki. And the real why was that I saw my weight escalate, but also I have 2 sisters. One sister is extremely large, and she was having issues with her health. And, I didn't want to have issues with my health. So I reached out to her and said, hey, let's be in sisterhood together. Let's do this together. And she said yes, but she didn't mean yes. So in good health, I went forward without her. So I started the program. I found Vicki. It took me a couple of times to find her, but I found her. And one of the most exciting things was that really and truly I needed to start by myself so that I could embrace the program and really see the support behind it. And I think that there's an accountability that comes with this program, and to whatever level. So the accountability, also the books really help kind of hold you to your why. And I never had a why before, lose some weight. Like, what's my real why? And I want to be healthy. I want to live a healthy life, mentally, spiritually, and physically. So in order to do that, I really have to get this in check. So I was glad that I'm glad now that I started by myself. It has brought my sister along, and to date, my oldest sister is now on board. And so I think we've lost to date around 85 pounds. And I think that's a pretty big accomplishment. I'm super excited about that. And I really think that having an understanding of what your why is, and knowing that, I think I've watched a couple of coaching calls where not maybe, or community calls where your why changes. So my why definitely changed from the first time. And so now I'm like in a healthier place, and I have no issues with who I am in that health. You know, I don't find the challenges so much. Are there some challenges through holiday time? Absolutely. Like Vicki said, listen, you're human. I travel for work a lot. I'm always challenged with work and the going out to dinner, but I'm not challenged with the plan, if that makes sense. I understand it. I love it. I'm embracing it, and it's just it's a part of my life now. So
yeah, and I think, thank you, Victoria, for sharing. And I think you are really a great example of, you came in the first time with a different mindset, because you really weren't, you were not the rest of it wasn't given to you. You came in as a diet, right? And now you see it bigger, and then in helping other people, and you know, you're plugged into all the components, which is amazing. So thank you so much for sharing. I want to share something. There was something Dan Bell said. It was, I think, on one of his trainings. Some of you probably have heard this before. Speaking of the metrics that Dee was talking about earlier, right? To know kind of where you are. Like if you have 2 days and you need 2 more clients to get to your next level, you may be like, well, that's just not happening. I have nobody else to talk to. But if somebody was just going to give you $1 million to find those 2 clients to get to the next level, I want you to think about what changes in your desire and your sense of urgency around that. You go from the, there's no way, not going to happen, to the, how can I make this happen? And it's a very different mental check. And I don't know, for me, when Dan Bell had said that, it kind of was a big aha moment. I think that when people come in to this program, typically it's like the last straw. They've had enough. They're ready to do something. And I think we all have heard that, you know, your pain point is what's going to, like, desire pulls and pain pushes. For me, when I came in this program, my A1C was elevated. I knew I was not in my optimal health, but I had a fear, because my parents had chronic disease, that was the path I was on unless I changed something. And that fear of going down that path is what drove me to a healthier path. And Dee and I actually talked about this today about, do I still live in fear? I don't live in fear. I live more in the desire to be on this path versus that path, which I think is an important distinction. But we all know that along the line, this tension, this structural tension, it goes away, right? People are not in that same space that they were when they started the program. So then it becomes an how do we keep people engaged so they actually go the distance? So I want to talk a little bit about obstacles and the human element. Emotional. I think we all know we eat for lots of emotions: happy, sad, depressed, anxious, celebratory. Really, any feelings can potentially get in the way. And I think that we've probably heard that a lot from clients of, you know, I'm an emotional eater. There's also a lot of sometimes self-sabotage. And I'm sure that you've heard some of this too. I'll never be at my pre-baby weight. I'll never be back at my high school weight. And I, a lot of times I'm always thinking, you don't know what's possible, but you always have to meet the client where they are, right? Because that's where they are. It's not our job to convince them that they'll be somewhere else. You know, you take it one step at a time, 10 pounds at a time, 5 pounds at a time. Sometimes there's some underlying, like, oh my gosh, when I drop weight, I might actually have to go on a date. It's easier to just kind of stay where I am, and then I don't have to deal with all of that. So sometimes there is a win in staying stuck and not really actually getting to where somebody really wants to go. I know Dee is going to talk about, we talked about tracking. Meg came on and talked about tracking. How many of you heard somebody in week 2 and they only lose 2 pounds and they're like totally distraught and depressed because they're only 2 pounds down in that second week because they've had a big drop in their first week? You know, that the metrics can derail people, and they can also really help people. So giving them perspective on what a and weight loss is what we want to see along the path. The journey as they progress is important. Sometimes the goal is too big. That mountain's too high. And the idea of getting to the top, they can't even see the top. So we have to help them see steps along the way. Social, whether it's alcohol, whether it's going out to dinner, whether it's social and no support along those lines. Mindless eating. How many times do you just pick up something and you don't even know that you ate it? So being mindful, obviously we all know, I think is a huge key and component to this program, because you don't probably think about brushing your teeth because you just do it. It's just something you do. You put on your seatbelt. It's just something you do. So getting people to be mindful about what they're doing so that those become the habits, just like the seatbelt and the teeth brushing is going to be important. Rebellious. Good food, that's a good food, that's a bad food. I was on plan, now I'm off plan. That all or nothing thinking can also be something that gets in the way. At the end of the day, we want to be looking at the relationship that people have with food, their own habits, and their patterns of behavior. So I wanted Dee, she shared a great podcast with me, and I wanted her to talk a little bit about this Pierson's law.
All right. Yeah, I am so into this stuff. I'm going to kind of share two things. And I do want to give kudos to Lori Cole, because Lori had shared this podcast with me a while ago. And then I just happened to be on a walk and I was like, what am I going to listen to today? And I listened to it and it was so powerful. But it was about the topic of it. And I can put the info in when I post the recording, but it's a podcast and it's from the person is called the Mindset Mentor. And the title of the one, it was from September 8, 2022, and it was a proven strategy to hit any goal. And what it was about was this Pierson's law or whatever, but basically he gave an example that what we need to do if we want to make change is to actually set a goal, to declare it, to share it, and then ask that person for accountability. And in order to have accountability, we need to track it. So he gave two examples, and two examples about, and a real good example about why tracking matters. But so what he did, he's like a life coach, and but this person needed to lose weight. He's like, I know nothing about nutrition. I know nothing, but I do know if he started tracking, it would make a difference. So he had him get a scale that would feed into his iPhone that then would automatically, he could set it up to send to his coach. And he had him weigh a certain time, right? Like, and just by having that accountability and knowing his coach was going to see his weight, he started doing the things that made his weight go down. So the one thing I would say is I think sometimes with our clients, we can get a little like, oh, I don't want to just talk about weight. I want to talk about all the wins. And that's important. But I think it's also important to track and ask them to share their specific weight with you. Because I had a client that actually told me at one point, and how many will own up to this, but she told me, she said, Dee, I've been lying to you. She said, I would tell you that I was down 2 pounds. But what I didn't tell you was that I went crazy over the weekend and gained 3, and I was now down 2 since I talked to you. But she was not getting anywhere. She was spinning her wheels. So she didn't have that accountability. He also gave an example on this podcast of like why tracking matters is because it will let you know what you need to adjust. But there was somebody who said that they wanted to save $5,000 a year. I think that was it. Basically, whatever it was, they needed to share. They broke it down. They needed to save $500 a month. And they had to report it, right? And show, here's my bank statement, here's what I saved. By tracking it, then they knew that if it was only $400 one month, that they had to move it up to $600 the next month to be on track. So that allows you to know, where do I need to make an adjustment? So that's what Meg's going to talk about tonight, is the value of tracking. But I also want to talk about, just for a second, is we talked about mindset, and what we think is what we, you know what I mean? What perception is reality. And somebody gave me this book, and it's called Winning the War in Your Mind by Greg Rochelle. And I'll put this in there. Some of you guys might have read it. It does have a Christian base to it. So if that's not your thing, just read it without that in there. You know what I mean? Just take what you want from it. Or there's another book that's really good called Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. But what I really liked about this was he taught there, and what would help you, I think, as a coach is to understand the human behavior, like your own. This all applies to you as a coach too, right? With your own business, your own health. But when we understand the way the brain works, it'll help you to be empathetic with other people. Like, they're not doing this usually on purpose. It's the way their brain is wired. But the way he described this is there's neural pathways in the brain. Means is that there's a proven path that this person has always done. You and I do it as well. But he calls it a rut. When it's in an unhealthy way, right? Like I always emotionally eat, or I always like my default is I turn to food. My default is I do this. And he described a rut as unintentionally created, but it brings an undesired result, and it requires repair. So a rut is in the brain, but we didn't really mean for it to happen. It's just there. So what he talked about was we have to build new trenches in the brain, because you can rewire your brain. You can change the thinking, create new neural pathways. But he said a trench is a new truth, and it has a specific purpose, and it's focused on fixing an existing problem. So that's why tracking is important, or like, having a client, whatever, for the accountability, is because when they're doing this and they're eating 6 times a day, or they're getting on a community call, or they're getting in their life book, this is different than what they've ever done before. So they are creating new neural pathways. I hope that helps you when you're thinking about it and explaining why would they want to get in the book, or why would they need this. It's because we have to create new thinking patterns.
Yeah, no, that's great, Dee. And I think for people that have done other programs, they're coming into this program thinking it's another program, it's another diet. So we want them to think bigger, which brings me to their headspace. Because, and I tried to, Lisa Bloom couldn't be on this call tonight, but I was really interested in how, based on the talk that she gave about how to coach our clients, right? They are all different. They all have different personalities. They all come from a different experience. So with the health assessment, when I do the health assessment, I look at how are they eating now? If they're only having one big meal a day and they drink coffee all morning long, that's very different than if they're already having a meal and a snack. I can already anticipate how easy it's going to be for them to just pull this in. They're just eating healthier fuelings, right? So I'm going to anticipate how that is going to transition in their life. I'm also looking at what is their lifestyle? Are they on the baseball field with their kids for 3 hours a night and it's hard to get a lean and green? Do they need to move that? So looking at their lifestyle, do they travel? I mean, Victoria travels a lot. I've got clients that are, pharmaceutical reps that live in their cars. So does that mean they're whining and dining clients? It's like, what does their life look like, and where are they going to potentially have trouble? The emotional eating, I think we've already talked about a lot, but some people identify that and they put themselves in that neural pathway of this is who I am. And we want to help them question that. Just because it's who you are, is that who you want to continue to be? Want to talk a little bit about personality. You have people that are very metric driven. You have people that are people pleasers. They don't know how to say no. They don't know how to create their boundaries to help keep themselves successful. They could be perfectionistic. So they have that one thing that's off plan and then it derails them, and see, I couldn't do it. And the self-sabotage can come into play there as well. And then obviously happiness, job satisfaction, relationships, that support system. I think we know, speaking of accountability, that accountability is going to be key, maybe not just from us, but from a partner that is going to meet them at the gym to go work out with. That showing up and knowing that somebody's expecting you to show up is always going to help move people further. I mean, when I did the program, I did it with my husband. It was great because we were both on plan. And then anticipating their triggers. Look, when people come in, they're excited, they want change, and they're raring to go. But at some point in time, we have to let them know, guess what? 9 miles down the road, there's going to be a detour. What are you going to do then? We have to educate them that pull up Waze on your phone. Let's figure out how are you going to work around that detour? If they know it's going to come, they won't be totally blindsided by it. And anticipation can be key. So finding out how they want to be coached when things get tough. Do they want empathy from you? Do they want you to be coached through scenarios? Like, get a feeling of what is going to happen when they don't want to talk to you. They may not feel like they're not going to want to talk to you, but we all know that that's going to happen sometime down the road. Anticipating the pitfalls, looking at the flexibility 5 and 1, Guys, I was 5 and 1, and it was like I was very rigid about like, you don't expect results if you're not going to be on 5 and 1. I have somebody doing 5 and 1-ish, and she's losing 2 pounds a week because she is exercising, and all I am is kudos to her. So we got it. If someone's going to always go off, we have to figure out something that's going to help them maybe better stay on. Getting them to agree to the once a week call. Reestablishing, reaffirming what their whys along the way, especially as that structural tension changes. Accountability and metrics we already talked about. The Tuesday call, and then but the importance of coaching. I think we all just saw evidence of Victoria helping her, starting out helping her sisters, and really getting them into all the components. Last thing I really want to say, and I know we're getting close here to this call, is what about the other 3 components? If we fully believe that this program is four legs of a stool, if they didn't have the fuelings, would they be doing the other 3? I don't know. Would they be doing the other 3? So getting them integrated before their box ever comes is key, because if they're just focused on the box, they are focused on the diet. But if we can get them on a call, if we can get them on this call that Meg's about to do, they're going to see it bigger before their feelings have even arrived. And I think it's our responsibility to plug them in. Coming from a fitness background, I educate people all the time that it's 80% how you fuel and it's 20% is your exercise. But with this program, I feel like it's 80% these 3 components, and it's 20% is the fueling. That's the reality of this program, because otherwise they're going to yo-yo, they're going to come back. It's going to, you know, all those things. So these are just some questions, right? Do they want the secret of long-term success? Do they really want to know? Look, I've been at this 10 years. I'm going to tell you, I watch people. They're all or nothing. They're going to do it, and then they're going to be ish, or a weekend they're going to say, I can't do this. They're going to fall in 1-3 of those spaces. So if they want the key, and then here I had at the bottom here, do they trust you to guide? Do you want the key, and do you trust me to guide you? I'm going to lay it out for you, and this is how it's going to go. So these are going to be the important things to plug into. What are they going to do if nothing changes? Do they want to keep losing the same 10? What I do a lot is if somebody's not getting on the calls, I will tag them in a call that's pertinent to them. I will tag them on a Facebook post on our page where they can see themselves, because then they see the possibilities. They hear something out of somebody else's mouth. Interesting. I talked to somebody today, and I asked her about getting on the call, listening call, and she said, you know what, I have to tell you, like, for me to go and hit the thing and go to YouTube, it's like, I'm just not, nothing's keeping me from doing it. I'm just not going to do it. But then she said, but I'm a huge, like, I listen to podcasts all the time. So I send her the call that's about to happen with Meg. I send her the link that she can get on her iOS, knowing that she'll get on that call more than she will the link. So sometimes it's the little things that we find out that is the gateway to getting people to embrace some of these other components. I know we're right up against the time. Dee, I don't know if you had anything else that you wanted to add.
No, this is fantastic. And I'll work with Vicki. Maybe we can upload this slide deck for you, because it was really, really good, Vicki. So thank you. And I am excited. So we kind of did things a little reverse order, but there's a reason behind it. So next week, be on the call next week, because Lori Cole is leading, and she's going to be talking about doing a powerful health assessment and gathering and building that foundation. But what we wanted you to see was kind of the end result, because we know that people can start out really, and they're like, I want to lose 20 pounds. We're like, I can help you. But then this is where it falls apart. So be on next week, because we're going to help you build the foundation that's going to lead to make this a simpler process for you. And you can always recreate and rebuild with any client at any time about their why. So thank you for this. Scroll back up in the chat right now. Scroll all the way to the top to that message that Meg had for us to send to our clients. All you have to do is just click on it, and it's going to bring you to the call that Meg is leading. So let's all hop over there, and thank you again, Vicki,
to share screen,
and to Vicki for sharing. Victoria, bye-bye.
you guys can stop sharing.